All right, what's up everyone? Okay, today we're gonna talk about the OG Blacksmith here. This is the 2956. Now, if you saw my countdown recently, you saw that the Blacksmith was the number 2 on the top 10 list. And this particular boot, the story behind this one, all right, let's start here. So I've been trying to get as many of what I call the OG Blacksmith as possible because of them being leather lined, cork sole, and no speed hooks. So as you know that I have the 9161s here. I have the 4522 here. These are the 2961 in the copper worksmith. So I found these two here on Nordstrom Rack. I was able to track those down there. This one was on eBay, and then there's 2 others out there. There's one that's all black, and that was on Nordstrom Rack, but I didn't get those, ended up buying those. And then there's a lighter leather. I think it may be the Yuma that exists. And they do make this, I believe, in Hawthorne. So those are maybe, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 7, possibly 8 different blacksmiths out there that exist with this enamel hardware, leather lined, cork sole, and no speed hooks. So now the newer version, as you know, the 3340, which I love, is in the Briar. But they all have the Vibram lug sole, mini lug sole, and they're not leather lined, and they have the speed hooks, and depending, it's brass hardware, I think for the most part. Yeah, brass hardware. Nice, but I kind of like having them leather lined. So this one here is in copper rough and tough, which currently I have here. Actually, I can show you briefly. The 3341, which I own. This is Vibram mini lug, speed hooks, not leather lined. So you can get this one at the stores. You can get a Blacksmith in the copper rough and tough stores, but this one, no, this one is dead stock, or eBay, maybe I don't know, Nordstrom Rack if they have a few, or if you go to the Red Wing store in Minnesota and you go to one of their sales, maybe they'd have this, in the basement or whatever. But how I came across these, I was at Red Wing yesterday, hanging out at the Tribeca store with the fellas, and before I left, they're like, "Oh, hey, we have something for you," and they're like, "You can take these if you want," and I was like, yeah. So thank you to them. Thank you to the Red Wing rep, because he was the one who gave them to them, and they gifted them to me. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Adding these to the collection. I had been eyeing them because I saw them in the store and we spoke about them. And I was kind of like, well, I already have the 3341s here. So I was kind of like, I don't really need them, but I do like them. And it would be nice to add them to the collection because of how rare they are. And so when I don't know, a couple of months later, they were gifted these to me, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And these, I will wear the hell out of these for sure. Today, I'm wearing the 8113 Iron Ranger in the Hawthorne. So the 9161s, which I wear quite a bit for just like I have like an audition and I'll wear these, or if I get booked, I'll wear these on set. And sometimes you do have to wear your own shoes, and stylists will, they'll say, you can keep those on. I like those boots, wear those, because this is such a simple, clean boot. You don't have the cap toe. It's just something that's just like a kind of like a dress boot. Not obviously, if it had a slimmer toe, you can get away with being more of like a dress boot, but it's like a good chinos, jeans, just an everyday boot. And so I've worn these a couple times recently on two shoots actually. I wore these, so these are kind of like the 9161s have kind of been my go-to for any audition that I've had. And then recently I applied boot oil to this leather here, and I think I've done it twice now. I conditioned them once with boot oil and then had worn them, and they were kind of starting to get scuffed and look like they were a bit thirsty. So I applied boot oil again to these, gave them a brushing, and I think they looked absolutely gorgeous now after a couple wears, and can go again for maybe, depending on how much I wear them, 3 months if I wear them quite a bit, and then throw on another coat of boot oil, or I can go maybe 6 more months if I'm not going to wear them that much, and then put another coat of boot oil on them. So the 9161 definitely been worn a lot, and it's for me a great everyday boot. 4522. I have worn these a bit looking at the sole. I've kind of babied this because how I feel about the Briar. I really love the Briar, and you guys know how I feel about the 3340. And so this was like taking the 3340 and they're like, here, the boot of your dreams, leather lined, cork sole. What I would normally do after I beat up the 3340s that I've had, I'd probably changed and put this sole on them. But since I have these, the 34s will probably get something else on them. And then these here, I've worn, looking at the sole, not a lot. They got a little bit of wear. I do love the way these look though. This in the daylight is gorgeous. I'm not sure how I'm gonna treat these though. I probably will use leather cream for these because I don't want them to darken too much, because they could end up kind of possibly getting close to this, like the Briar. So I kind of want these to keep their reddish color. So I'll probably just use leather cream for this. All right. So let's take a closer look at the OG Blacksmith 2956 in the charcoal rough and tough. Okay. Now before I start talking about the charcoal blacksmith here, I wanted to just briefly, I picked up while I was at Red Wing the belt, and this is in the Oro because I needed something to, or not needed, I wanted something to go with my Pecos that I have in the Oro. And so as you can tell, initially I was wearing this belt that I bought, and this is the, I forgot what they call it, Oro something, but it's, as you can see, too dark. I went and picked this one up, and this matches perfectly with my Picos in the 8869. So this I had been eyeing for a while because I liked how light it was, and I know it's gonna take on some beautiful characteristics. And so I went in and picked this up, and these two look perfectly together. So also, let me take out my thingy. This is my wallet, or my card case, that's also in the Oro. So this will eventually take on, this belt will take on this kind of color, as well as the boots. The boots are kind of already getting darker. I put on some leather cream twice now on these two different treatments. So these boots and this belt will all kind of get to the same level of patina as on this card case, which will be nice. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that. This Oro's one of my favorite leathers. I really love what happens to it over time, and it just looks good with everything. So I'm very pleased to have these two back together. All right. Oh, the one thing too, also belt versus the other one. So if you look at this one, you see this buckle here, it's a brass buckle and has that white stitching. Here, this one has a chrome, but look here, so it doesn't have this little that's missing there. And I asked the guys, I was like, hey, what's up with that? Why isn't that there? And he's like, oh, I like it like that. One of the guys said, is like, I like it because it doesn't interfere with, I guess, one of his denim jeans that he was wearing. So he was all about that. But I was just like, okay, I'll try it, give it a go. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Okay, now on to the 2956 Blacksmith in the charcoal rough and tough. So like these, I'm definitely going to condition because I know that these have not had anything on them and they look pretty thirsty. So I'm definitely going to condition these. I don't know if I'm going to use mink oil, if I'm going to use the all leather conditioner. I could even just use leather cream. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to use, but let's just go through the boot. So you have the Goodyear Welt on here, the nitrile cork, which I love on this boot, triple stitch in the charcoal. Oh yeah, baby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 enamel hardware in black, made on the 8 last. We have that here. Just gorgeousness in this beautiful baby. The charcoal rough and tough, which is, I think, is a favorite of quite a few people. That they like that. So like the inside of here of this 2956, as I told you, is leather lined, which is a gorgeous, and you have that leather insole in there, and then the rough of that charcoal. Now these boots were made on September 2013. That's when these were made. And as I told you guys before, I already own the charcoal. These are the blacksmiths that would be currently at the store. These, I currently have shoe trees in them. And I know a lot of people who have seen these I beat up. I wore these a lot. You can look at the heel. You can see that. Can you see that? Hold on, let's put it against my shirt. Can you see it? See that heel has been, I wore these. I skateboarded in these and everything. These, when I first got them, I just loved them and wore them all the time. Now, what I was going to say is that you can see that this toe compared to this toe here has that like bulbous roundness to it, versus this one is like flat, no toe box. Not sure how that happened. I bought these at the actual Red Wing store in Queens many years ago. Oh, and yeah, weird, huh? I guess I just kind of got fortunate with that. Got a no toe box blacksmith. See the difference? So these that you will find at the store, the difference, brass hardware, you have the speed hooks and that Vibram mini lug sole. So it's like definitely a softer sole, comfortable indeed. But these harder sole, leather lined, which will probably take a different shape than these, being that these are fabric, that canvas lined. For me, I don't know what it is, but a canvas lined shoe always takes a different shape on my foot than a leather lined. I don't know if you guys have that same experience or not, but I tend to have that that experience with a leather line versus canvas line. But this is just wanted to show you guys a quick comparison. Although your pair that you would buy at the store will have a toe box and will have that bulbous round toe. Just to show you, just to do a compare contrast for you guys of that those two. These look good with like I remember I would wear these with like a since they didn't have a a toe box, I would wear them with like a slimmer jean selvage, like a black selvage. They just look really good, and having like that charcoal. And I've conditioned these twice with all natural leather conditioner. I think I put that on these. So initially it kind of darkens it, but then it comes back in the end. I love how like that gray. The charcoal is a really good leather. It's one of my favorites as well. So I will throw something on these, but not exactly sure what yet. But very happy to add these to the collection. All right, let's do the on feet.
Okay, so I'm wearing the mic again for the on feet, and I just wanted to show you guys, to see if I go towards the light here, the difference between the left boot and the right boot in the leathers. You can see that my left boot here is this more of that charcoal kind of shining through, more scuffs, versus the right boot here, which has a bit smoother overall leather. And if you do a little closer, if I can get any closer, you see there's some creases on that leather there, and then on this left boot, get it in focus, it seems drier and grayer. And that does happen sometimes. I know people will reach out to me and they'll say, hey, one boot is different than the other, the leather's different. Is that a default? Should I return them? That does happen because the boots aren't cut from the same skin or the same area of the skin, so that will happen. So these honestly look like I'm wearing two different boots. It could also be sometimes if a boot has been handled a lot. Let's say, for example, this boot here, my right boot, was handled a lot. The oils from the hands of people touching the boot will definitely affect the leather, versus like this one had never been touched. Let's say if my right boot was on the shelf, it was display, it's gonna have more oils from hands touching it, so that will affect the leather. And this one stayed in the box. That could be another reason why, if you do order a pair of boots from a store and they arrive, and then you'll be like, well, I don't understand why they do. You can just fix that by just conditioning the boot, and the leathers will end up matching each other. Let's say, for example, you put another layer on this one versus that one. One layer on the right boot, two layers on the left boot, and they'll usually will match up. So I noticed that putting that on, that looked like the way, and I have had questions and comments from viewers about that. So there you go. So I am wearing Gap selvage, Japanese selvage denim. That's what I'm wearing with these boots, with an aggressive cuff, just to show you a lot of the boot. Although I do have an aggressive cuff like this when I ride my bike, simply because I don't want to get my pants caught in the chain. That has happened to me on a track bike. I was riding down a bridge and my jeans got caught in the chain. No brakes on my bike because it was a track bike at the time, fixed gear, and I had to rip my leg out of the crankshaft and the chain to be free. That was not fun, but anyways, it's nice to have on a brand new boot. I was just wearing the 8113 Iron Ranger in Hawthorne all day, and I've put a lot of hours in those boots, and it's nice to actually put my foot in a brand new hard leather insole and Cork sole that hasn't been broken in, and it has that definite stiff feel to it. Nice support. I was thinking about this while I was doing the video and while I was going through all of the blacksmiths that I own, and then these kind of stay true to the numbers. So these are the 2956, and then we have the 2955s, which are the Spitfire in Spitfire leather blacksmiths, and then the 2961, I think that was. But then there's the 4522, which I believe may have been through the Brooks Brothers. Maybe that's why that has the 45 number. And then the 9161s, I'm not sure where those came from, because that has a different number than all the other blacksmiths, usually starting in a 2.9. The Copper Worksmith started in a 2.9. And so it must be the older blacksmiths did the 2.9, unless it was a collaboration. Then it was a 4.5 with Brooks Brothers, and then they did another I can't think off the top of my head. I can't think of it. I know J. Crew will have some that have 4.5. That's a collaboration, and I'm curious about the 9161s. I'm gonna have to ask Red Wing about that number. But these look really good. I absolutely love how they look on feet. I'm actually really excited to condition this leather because it is quite dry, and like I said, they had probably been sitting for, I know they had been sitting for a long time. So one of the things that I do that I don't always record is that I will condition a boot while watching TV. And I don't always record it for you guys, but it's something that, since I have so many, I'll just sit there and just do it while I'm watching a TV show. I'm really loving how this cork feels on this blacksmith. It's great. The other thing that I really like about how the blacksmiths come is they all come with the flat wax lace, which I think looks really good, and then you can always change it for something that has a little pop of color if you wanted to, another flat lace with a pop of color. These, I think, could look pretty cool. I know I tried like an orange in the charcoal, which I thought looked really good. And then I think I did a Pishka Coyote in my Iron Rangers with that, and that looks really good as well. But I have to say, looking at the monitor while I'm wearing these are gorgeous, guys.
Okay, so that is the Red Wing OG Blacksmith 2956 in the charcoal rough and tough. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, be a boot. See you guys next time.